What is up, everybody? I am here again in my horrendously fat glory, as you can obviously tell. And I guess now is a good time for me to talk about how I am a big nerd. Um, I consider myself a nerd because of two things. One, I love works of fiction, and two, I like learning new things. And I feel like those two facts together make me a nerd. Now, the depressing thing about being a nerd is that, like, the stereotype for being a nerd that I personally do not enjoy is, and this is a big one for me because I know I'm gonna upset some folks with this one. The stereotype from some nerds is always a group of guys getting together, getting in the borderline shouting matches, if not close to fistfights, about which character is better. And the reason why I hate this discussion, because first off, I don't think that there is such thing as a best character. And secondly, I would never care about like ranking systems of any kind because it's literally just another fan saying, "Oh, I like this thing better than I like this thing, and I like this thing, and I like this thing." I mean, a group of fans could sit down and agree on the same thing, but if they disagree on one thing, that's where the argument starts. So the ranking system will always be biased because one fan is going to be like, "Well, I don't agree with the character being here, but this character should be here." Blah 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 blah. And and I'm just sitting here like, but one of the most annoying things about the discussion of who's the best and who's better is that like a lot of people never actually take into account the writing or the development or anything like that. It's almost always seems to be determined by, you know, A, how entertaining their fights look, and B, how many fights they win. That's it. It's like people will literally like any character just based on the fact that they can fight or because, they win or whatever. It depresses me because it's like, why, It's like, because me, like, I like a character based off of like morals and things. I like characters. Like, all I really want to do when I see a work of fiction is see a person who is bad get what's coming to them. That's it. I just like seeing. That's why I like shows like Mr. Pickles and the Powerpuff Girls and things like that. Because I'm not looking for a complex story just so I can like the bad guy. I'm not trying to like the bad guy. I want to see the bad guy get hurt. Like, what? You're gonna write a story about? You're gonna write a story to make me sympathize with a Klansman? No, I'm not gonna sympathize with no Klansman. I just want to see that Klansman get beat up. Why would I want to feel bad about a Klansman? But that's the thing though. It's like it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of morals. It doesn't really seem like there's a lot of care for morals when it comes to that kind of discussion. And it just also seems like that's the only discussion that most of these fans tend to go into. The discussion is almost never about, and the importance of plot or like, I don't know, like, I mean, if we actually sat down and cared, we could literally all become Batman. It ain't that hard. You could like learn a couple of martial arts styles, learn a couple of it's just a matter of learning, you know. But people would rather say, "Man, Batman is stupid because they don't like him because he's rich." Prep time, blah blah blah. And it's like, I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of Batman either. But the thing is that like he's relatable because he's just some dude, you know. Granted, he does some things that are weird, that are oddly not human. But at the end of the day, he's just some dude, you know. And like the discussions, I just feel like there's a lack of creativity when it comes to the who is better discussion because it's never because like nobody ever actually sits down and like it's almost always got to be a fight like, well, I think this character is better because he could beat so and so and so and so, and this character is stronger because this character can fight and beat this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. And it's like, and I'm just sitting here like, how come nobody ever ask about like who would make a good team? How come nobody ever what's like I've never, since I've been in the nerd community, I've never heard people say stuff like, who's a good enemy for Goku and Superman to fight against if they were to have a collaboration. You know what I mean? well, that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's like, well, neither would them fighting against each other. You know, I mean, like literally nobody, and nobody would ever write that anyway. So it just doesn't really seem like it seems kind of pointless. You know, it just seems kind of like, you know, and I'm not saying that nobody should be doing this. I'm not telling anybody to not do these things. I'm just saying like the discussion, like the discussions when it comes to being a nerd, just always seem to fall back into my favorite character can kick your favorite character's butt. And like I look at these discussions and I can't lie. It really starts to make sense how the religion. It's kind of like how the wars and religions got started. Like it started to make sense how the religious wars got started because basically, I bet you it started off of that same concept. Like my God could beat your God's butt. No, your God, my God could beat your God's butt. Let's kill him for like lying about it. You guys are lying. And I'm just sitting here like this is a dumb discussion. All I want to know is all I want to know is what superpower would you guys want to have if you guys could have superpowers? Or, um, I don't know. How come the Spectre is both a demon and a person at the same time? Who do y'all think the Phantom Stranger is? You know, things like that. Nobody ever actually sits down and looks past the whole lizard brain discussion of whose character can fight. You know, whose character will win in a fight between this character and that character. And like literally another thing too is that like what characters like once people actually determine who's weak and who's strong, they hate the weak character. Well, I don't like Saitama because he can't because he's weak and he's not strong and he's a parody character. But he's still a good guy, you know? Like he still helps people. I mean, granted, he doesn't like to. I mean, granted, he's bored all the time, but no, he helps people. And you're telling me that you would rather hate a character who helps people because you think he's weak, because he can't beat, I don't know, Goku or whatever, which is dumb. It's like nobody ever actually. It just seems like it just like there's a lot of. It just seems like a lack of nerdy conversations when it comes to nerds, and it all just sort of boils down to this Colosseum Caesar type discussion. It always seems they try to turn anime into a sport. It seems like and like the sports are always going to turn into some of the most dumbest discussions because it's always going to be who can win in a fight between who. You know, I like the bad guy because they're great, and the good guys are fake or whatever. It just it just doesn't make any sense. Another thing too is like I said, I don't want to be too long with this because also I'm planning on starting a podcast soon. I'm just trying to figure out specifically how I'm going to do that and what site to use. I'm thinking about using Anchor, but that's completely different. This video is too long. Ain't nobody gonna listen to all this. Well, but yeah, that's just a rant that I got going on. My bad if I wasted your time. Love and peace. Y'all have a good one. That's it.